This is written 2008. So there's this thing, huh? Where the government needs $700 billion pretty quick. Kind of all in one fell swoop. You see, they've got something big planned. They've run out of cash. So they devised this neat idea to fake an economic crisis. How does one fake an economic crisis, you ask? Well, you can't. You actually have to cause a crisis by removing funds from what would otherwise be viable accounts. Actually shift money from privately held sectors into shadow accounts. Pristine, oh so cute, untraceable receptacles for little tiny zeros and ones, and pretend somehow that it all went suddenly missing. Well, how do you go about doing that without the help of the banking establishments? Funny you ask. You don't. They need to be in on it. What about Wall Street? Oh, they won't mind. You don't even have to tell them the whole story. As long as you let them know that for a few weeks, years or so, they can buy short at historically unprecedented levels and make back losses tenfold, they won't bat an eye. And how do you bribe the banks? Well, you promise them every cent will be returned, of course. But I thought the government needed their money. Yeah, right, but once you frighten the American public enough, by intentionally erasing their pension plans, their stock holdings, their retirement funds, their kids' tuition, rainy day investments, the whole shebang, go up and down the fiscal ladder, they'll most likely demand that you figure something out, and fast. At that point, you just hold a gun to their heads and say, stick 'em up. Oh, sure, it had more pizzazz in the old days, the funny hats and spurs added a little theatrics. But in these modern, sophisticated times, they wear fine, tailored suits and shiny shoes. And boy, do they sparkle. And don't forget the tie. No good respecting criminal nowadays would be caught without a tie.
Yes.
Well, that sounds too simple. Simple? Simple my ass. You know how long it takes to reduce a majority population out of 300 million down to the intelligence level of a 5th grader? Convince them wholeheartedly with every passing, fabricated minute that they're not being viciously manipulated? Hide the strings so well, they sometimes even fool the folks in on the joke, and then mastermind a scheme to unite the most influential powers that be within the financial, media, foreign relations, trade, and military arenas, having only the highest of the highest given full reins, keep anybody remotely capable of oversight in perpetual darkness, root your diabolical plans so firm that the boundaries of involvement extend way past national borders and hold hostage the ignorance of all people everywhere? You call that simple? When it takes multiple lifetimes to achieve such villainy, such grotesque genius, that most elements of the heist have already been set in motion hundreds of years in advance. Come on. I have to take my hat off to them. They're quite good at this whole, anything you can do, I can do better, I can do anything. And that's where it stops, boys and girls. They can do anything and get away with it. Cover it up so well that the fancy story could even all be blown, totally revealed, and not a single soul over 3% would believe it. You don't have to hide a thing. It's all about diversion. Watch the adorable fellas and gals over here arguing about policy while I do whatever the fuck I want. Well, can we, rise up for something? Not too well. When they implement such plans as Project CSMRF, CBRNE, Consequence Management Response Force, commenced on October 1st, 2008, just 1 month, mind you, before the Obama election. CBRNE standing for Chemical, Biological, Radiological, Nuclear, and High Explosive Consequence Management Response Force. An intensely trained, fully equipped brigade of Army personnel ready with state-of-the-art non-lethal weapons, designed for the precise use of subduing civilian unrest, as the top brass like to call it. You know, it's kind of difficult to form a resistance when you're armed with, your souvenir baseball bat from Wrigley Stadium, and a rusty 3-iron you have absolutely no business swinging around on weekends, let alone in defense of your supposedly free life. But those people really did lose their money, right? It can't be true. What did you say, C-Smurf? But think of it. Who lost their money? A bunch of lower-run players here and there, your grandma, your brother, your sister, dear old ma? wasn't lost, honey. It was rerouted. Some like to say stolen, but there's something so petty in that description, like a desperate, doped-up thief was behind it all. This was a magically delicious reallocation of funds with a capital cha-ching. And this is the kicker. All they did was remind us that diversified investment stock portfolios is a fancy phrase for gambling. That 401ks are in fact gambling. That purchasing a $300,000 home on loan when all you have is 18 to 20 grand in the bank is gambling. Saved from monthly payments, gambling. And when you feel duped by the system, a transparent system nonetheless, of gimme, 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 now suck my dick, you tend to beat yourself up just a little and lay down in defeat. So what are we to do? What's left for us to do? Well, I'll tell you. The first step is to hit them where it hurts. Give them a dose of their own medicine. Flip them the biggest, most unified bird they've ever seen, and take back what's rightfully yours. Remove whatever's left of your hard-earned money from the bank in cash. Yes. Dissolve all stocks, turn in those worthless bonds, liquefy your entire life's savings, and hide everything. Either under your mattress, buried in your backyard somewhere, or in some cozy offshore account of your very own. And watch as the power drains from their inbred, overfed, egregiously elitist, duplicitous faces like that. Yes. And as democracy is for the first time established in America. Yeah!